Welcome back to another edition of 60 Super Bowls in 60 days. Unfortunately, I just made a gigantic oopsie on my part because normally I will do each Super Bowl review every single day. And unfortunately, I have two Super Bowl reviews being bundled into one day. So, yeah, that is a mix up on my part. I was going to upload that video, and then unfortunately they realized, oh, Akib, you just uploaded two videos into the same time, and that is not good for small viewership, which is gained like about 10 plus viewership, which is great. I see that many people care about this, and great, that's good. And if you wanted more, please like and subscribe so we can do more of these as we go to Super Bowl 60. Speaking of Super Bowl 60, we are going to notch 50 Super Bowls off of it and go to the 10th Super Bowl and a matchup of legendary teams with legendary fan bases and legendary coaches. Dallas Cowboys, led by Tom Landry, versus the Pittsburgh Steelers, led by Chuck Noll. It is January 18, 1976 at the Miami Orange Bowl, Miami, Florida, and it was an absolute cinema. This will not be the first time that we'll say absolute cinema between these two teams. Cowboys 17, Pittsburgh Steelers 21. They've won their second Super Bowl in the 70s and established themselves as the best team in the 70s. Here's the stats. Roger Staubach, 15-24, 204 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Terry Bradshaw, 9-19, 209 yards, 2 touchdowns. For the Russian, Robin Newhouse, 16 of 56, 16 rushes of 56 yards, for 3.5 a pop. Franco Harris, 27 carries for 82 yards, 3.04 a pop. Now, for the receiving. Preston Pearson, not related to the other guy that I'm going to mention. 5 catches for 53 yards at 10.6 a pop. Drew Pearson, the guy that has, the guy was, originally coined the Hail Mary against Minnesota, although it was controversial, of course. A guy who breaks so many teams' hearts from, Minnesota, as I mentioned, and then, of course, Atlanta later on. Pretty good, most underrated wide receiver. Pretty much the most underrated wide receiver. We went 2 for 59 for a touchdown. Percy Howard, 1 catch for 34 yards and a 34-yard touchdown. So there we go. And then Lynn Swann. My God. MVP of the Super Bowl with a 4 receptions, 161 yards, and 40.25 yards per reception. And one of the most, actually, he scored a touchdown, but one of the most beautiful catches I've ever saw. If you have not watched it, I want you to please watch that. If you go, type Super Bowl 10 Lynn Swann catch, and it's the most magnificent thing that ever happened. So I can tell you the details. It was a throw by Bradshaw. Ball was kind of tipped in the air, and just when both of these players fall over, Lynn Swann just fell over and just caught it majestically. I think it'll be in a thumbnail, of course, but it was one of the most spectacular catches in the early parts of the Super Bowl. That was like next to the Max McGee catch in the first Super Bowl, one of the most iconic catches in all the Super Bowl right now. And Lynn Swann was amazing. He's an amazing player, of course, but this Super Bowl, he was amazing. Randy Grossman, 7-yard touchdown. Of course, he caught it once. The defense for both teams were on display. Randy White for Dallas, 2 sacks. Harvey Martin, 6 tackles. Too Tall Jones, that's actually his name, 5 tackles. For the Pittsburgh Steelers, J.T. Thomas, interception, 3 tackles, and a fumble recovery. Glenn Edwards with an interception, 2 tackles. Mike Wagner with an interception and 2 tackles. This is against the mighty Steel Curtain defense of that Steelers team that is gonna wreck you havoc. And see J.T. Thomas, Glenn Edwards, and Mike Wagner getting interceptions. That pretty much was the difference of the game. L.C. Greenwood with 4 sacks. The White with 2 sacks. So the defense for Pittsburgh was on fleet, on point. Tony Frisch with 2 for 2 PATs and a 1 for 1 field goal. Roy Gorella with a 1 for 2 PAT and a 2 for 4 field goals. Total yards, Dallas 270 to Pittsburgh 339. And as we mentioned, the turnovers for Dallas 3-0. Pittsburgh played a really clean game, and Dallas with those 3 turnovers made by the 3 Pittsburgh Steelers defenders was the difference of the game. So what does this mean? Well, this is not I'm going to say this again. This will not be the first time that these two storied franchises will face off in a highly incredible Super Bowl. Will get to that later on. But for Pittsburgh to to finally win that first Super Bowl, and then to do it again, and then went on to have so much success, like Terry Bradshaw, Franco Harris, Lynn Swann. All these players will go on to have major contribution to the Pittsburgh dynasty that is still echoing today, even though they haven't won in like years. But it's an amazing Super Bowl to watch. This is probably the first really good Super Bowl that is there. Although you can say the first Super Bowl is kind of like the memory of many people, but this is the very first Super Bowl you're going to watch and say, man, these are two great teams. And nobody knows that these two great teams will go on to have so much success, not only in football, but outside of it with the fan base and all kinds of stuff. So to watch it is a joy to watch. And yes, you can watch it for the Lynn Swann character. It was beautiful, of course, but the defense for Pittsburgh is also amazing. So if you want defense, you can watch the whole Super Bowl. If you want incredible catches or the incredible catch, you can watch that Super Bowl. If you want to see two great teams with two head coaches and great players on both sides and Hall of Famers on each side, this Super Bowl is for you. And this will not be the last time that these two teams met. And this is an amazing Super Bowl to watch. If you have the time, of course. Like 2 hours and all this kind of minutes. But if you don't, you can watch the highlight form. I don't care. Anyways, thank you all for watching. Tomorrow will be Super Bowl 11. And a certain black... how do I say this? Super Bowl 11 will be tomorrow. And one of the most legendary coaches who went on to do so much great things finally get his day in the sun. Figuratively and literally. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you.